You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast, powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling, just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me.
Hello, AP.
Well, hi, Murph.
Here we are, live together in Parrot Talk Studios. And dare I say, now that we're a couple weeks past pre-ride, we have some more hardware that we've added. And I don't mean awards. I'm just saying hardware we've added to our studio.
Yeah.
We got a couple more challenge coins. And I think we talked about them on a previous episode, but they're looking good.
Yeah. We've been working on decorating our studio so that it has a lot of mementos from the ride and things that people have given us that are really meaningful, like our patches from firefighters. But these challenge coins, we're going to need to carve out a special place for them.
I know. We were just talking before we push record on whether or not something exists that you can display challenge coins.
Yeah.
Because they're all different sizes, but there's got to be something. And I know if we would just do a quick Google search, we would probably figure that out. But then we push record and now we're talking. But, but yeah, we got 2 this year.
Yeah, we got this really cool one for the Cedar Falls Fire Department. And it's sort of shaped like the badge that would be on the front of a fire person's hat. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty darn cool. So we got that one from John, the fire chief, over in Cedar Falls.
Super cool.
It's pretty freaking cool.
Yep.
Yeah. And the other coin that we received was actually not fire related. It is from Owine. Mm-hmm. And it says Owine, the one and only, and it's from their sesquicentennial, which happened back in 2023. Mm-hmm. But it's a really cool coin because it has a log cabin on one side and like a beautiful crest on the other side.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really special. And that one actually comes in its own little case.
Yeah.
But I'll probably take it out of the case and put it in whatever we decide to display so you can see it better.
Right. And what was that tagline? The one and only?
The one and only.
The one and only Owine.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thanks to Deb and the Owine committee for handing those out. It was really cool to receive that when we rode up to town.
Yeah, it was cool. Also, we should give a shout out to some podcast listeners who have put a little corn report on the social medias.
Yes. Shout out to Jeanette and Patty from Georgia.
Hey, ladies.
Hi, and thank you for the corn report. It was awesome.
Yep.
At the time of the corn report, it was about 2 feet tall, maybe?
Yeah.
Knee high.
And if I recall, they're actually in Ohio, not Iowa. But
yes,
I went on a bike ride yesterday and I did photograph the corn. I wasn't in it because there was a fence and I didn't want to climb the fence. I didn't want a farmer coming at me thinking I don't know what I would be doing in the corn besides going to the bathroom. But I took a picture of it and I would say it's probably thigh high for me right now in Iowa.
So it's growing every day. It's that time of year where you really can see it grow, maybe not minute to minute, but by the day.
I know.
So,
and just to think that it's going to be over our heads, all of our heads, you too.
I know. Yeah.
By the end of July.
I mean, genetics is incredible. Corn is cool. The soybean report, they're probably still tiny, but they're working on it.
That's right.
So, also want to do a quick shout out to my niece, Nuria. She said, I saw her last weekend and she's like, Auntie Andrea, why are your legs 2 different colors? And I'm like, it's called a bike short tan.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
She's only 4, so she has time to learn. She's going to learn.
She'll learn soon enough, right?
That's right. But it was really, really cute.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay, so as it says in the title, we're going to do a little bit of a recap of I believe it's the June town hall.
That's right.
And go into some of the frequently asked questions because they definitely spill into this podcast and what it's about, and riders who are maybe coming to Iowa to do Ride RAGBRAI for the first time or just need some refreshers.
Yeah. So we have all sorts of different questions. So we're going to try to kind of go in order and make them make sense in that way. Mm-hmm. But just bear with us because we're sort of just reading off a list and answering questions.
Yeah. So to kick it off, we've completed the pre-ride. And I think Matt Phippen has said it several times on this podcast that once the pre-ride is completed, that's when he does his final. I think he does one more drive across Iowa and then puts these maps to rest, meaning that there will be no more changes. Yeah. So that corresponds with this question. When will GPS route maps be available?
Yeah, it's like you said, Matt has finalized things with the pre-ride, but then the route inspection. But then he also just had a meeting. He and Ann and town leaders had a meeting with the DOT, with the state troopers, with local agencies, with Care Ambulance, really any of the first responder players who will be involved in RAGBRAI. So they had a meeting where obviously they'll hash out safety stuff and information and things like that, but they also talked about the route and made any tweaks that might need to happen in that way. So the RAGBRAI GPS maps will be made available in, I believe, June 27th.
I believe June 27th is the date I had as well.
It's the last Friday in June.
Okay.
They'll be available. So perhaps even as you listen to this podcast, they'll be available. So get ready for those.
And the cool thing about the GPS maps is they'll be available for riders, whether you're doing gravel or road. They will also be available for support drivers.
Yeah.
Because I think it's been stated many times, but if you're a support driver, you don't want to just use Google to get you from town A to town B, because you don't want to have to cross the bike route.
That's
you
right.
shouldn't cross the bike route.
That's right.
But even if you try, it will be a huge headache for you, and you're putting a lot of people at danger. So you'll want to follow the Ride with GPS routes that have been developed by Matt and all of his people.
Yeah. The new innovation for that this year is that we'll have 2 different versions of the route available for the drivers. So one, which is what you might remember from the past, where it'll route you from the overnight town down to the meeting town, where the vehicle route meets up with the bicycle route. And so you can meet with your riders and refuel them or whatever else you need to do. And then you head on to the overnight town for that day. There'll also be a version where you just go from overnight town to overnight town and you don't dip down to that meeting town. So if you just want to get to the next town and you want to set up camp and take care of business, you can do that. And you don't have to bother with going all the way close to the bike route. You know, you can kind of just stay away and drive normally and do your business. So it's kind of cool how we have that those 2 different options this year.
So put that on your calendar, June 27th, and that's when you can get all of those maps. You can put them into your phone or whatever device you use, and then you don't have to use internet for it.
Yeah, highly recommended.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, next question. I know the answer to only one climb, but the question is, how long, distant-wise, are the climbs? And the only one I know is the one from Saturday that was really, really long. Do you know more?
No, because I'm not really a numbers rider. But I will say all the climbs before day 7, they're not negligible, but they're more like rollers and things where you won't be riding the hill and counting down the tenths of a mile until you're done with the hill. So they're pretty short. I would say they're all a quarter mile. That's a guess.
And I would say none of them were very strenuous. So you weren't like, I'm thinking of, in past years where you're just like, oh my God, this is a grind.
Yeah.
It didn't feel that way.
Maybe when Scott Olson listens to this episode, he can fill us in on the details, because I know he knows. But
I do remember on day 7, there were 2 significant hills. One of them, I was told, was 1.7 miles of climbing.
Okay.
But then later in the day, I heard 1.9 miles. So just keep in mind, it's over a mile long.
Yeah.
So you just gotta pace yourself and give yourself some sort of positive mantra in your head.
Yeah.
And get up there.
Actually, it's funny you said that, because after we finished those climbs, the 2 of us touched base and we both talked about using your mental attitude to get through the hill and like making sure that you don't focus on something negative while you're climbing and just sort of pushing down those negative thoughts, at least just for a little bit until you get through the climb. And then you can think about whatever you want, but positive mental attitude.
You can think about your last piece of pie.
Yeah. Or, that part of the ride is through Amish country. So maybe you could look at the beautiful farms and the horses and, try to focus on that.
Yeah, it is a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do the next question?
Sure. If I ride all the gravel options except for the quote unquote tough final day, will I get a gravel patch? And the answer is yes, you will get a gravel patch, because we will be handing out the gravel patch earlier in the week in one of the towns. Now, stay tuned as to which town that is. I'd have to look it up. But it is before the final day, the more difficult day. And if you're having any questions at all about riding that final day, I would say skip it, because it's truly a challenging gravel route for those of you who got to get that gravel. So,
Right. So the patch is for those who ride gravel. It
That's
doesn't
right.
mean you have to ride every
All
single
the gravel.
segment.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. And it's sort of on our system, so as long as you're registered, but don't you be getting that gravel patch if you haven't ridden any gravel.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want a gravel patch if I didn't ride any gravel.
You'll get a stern look from me if you do. So,
Okay, next question.
okay, so next question. What do I do with my bike box? I'm flying into Omaha and out of Des Moines. Is there a way for the bike box to come along? Or should I get a softer, more packable bag? And I would recommend getting a soft packable bag. That's up to you, though, whatever you're comfortable with flying with. How you would get it across the state is either to work with a charter, or I would go to ragbrai.com/logistics. And you can make a deal with one of our third-party providers that we recommend, including sendmybike.com or sendmygear.com. And there's a couple other options there on that logistic page. And they say bike shipping, but they also do bike box transportation. So they'd be happy to take care of that for you. But those are all third parties. Those are all add-ons to your RAGBRAI wristband package. So you'll want to set something up with them as soon as possible.
Yeah, there is absolutely no room in the luggage trailers for bike boxes. So don't plan on that. I would say this is just off the top of my head. Another option would be if you have a cardboard box. I bet you that's something that you could just recycle it when you get to Omaha or whatever, and maybe call ahead to a bike shop in Des Moines to have them save you a bike box. But then again, that's all on you to coordinate all of that and then somehow get to the bike shop, and a lot of steps, but worth it if you want to keep your own bike.
You know, looking at this question and thinking about it a little more, this person is somehow getting from Omaha to Orange City and from Guttenberg to Des Moines. It's possible that whichever charter or shuttle that they're working with may be able to take the box. You might start by asking that company, or a friend or whoever it may be. Okay, next question.
Okay, next question is, where is the main campground in each overnight town?
Oh, good question. And there are 8 different answers to that because each town will have their own different campground. And most towns will have a tent camping campground and an RV campground. So there's multiple answers per town. In short, we will be releasing the overnight town maps the first week or so of July, and they'll have all that information. So it's not quite out yet, but it's coming soon. We're working on finalizing the maps right now. And there may even be multiple campgrounds per town, just depending on their space requirements. So,
and the nice thing, once those maps are released, it'll be just like your Ride with GPS routes, where you can put them on your phone and you can look at them without using cell service. So you'll know well ahead of time, where you're going once you get into town.
Yeah, those maps that I'm talking about will also have where all the vendors will be. They'll have showers, they'll have shuttle routes, they'll have maybe some local attractions. So they really have all sorts of things. They'll have ATMs. They'll have all sorts of things that you might want to know and plan ahead of time just to kind of see. And if you're someone who's staying with hosts and you're not using the main campgrounds at all, it might even still be a good idea to download these. So if you get to town and you can't find your campground, there you can just have it circled on the map and you'll know it, without using your phone. Because you don't want to depend on having cell service on RAGBRAI.
Right.
So it's always a good idea to have more information and not need it. So,
okay, one more camping question. Is there tent camping available on the last day of RAGBRAI? So you get to Guttenberg, you dip your tire, you celebrate, you get a few photos, but maybe you're not ready to go yet. So is there camping available?
There sure is. There'll be camping in Guttenberg. I don't know where. It'll be on that map that I've just been talking about. You'll be on your own for managing your baggage, as every night it is on RAGBRAI. So you'll pick up your bag from the trailer and you'll go and set up camp. And then you have to say goodbye the next morning. But yes, you can camp that night.
And that's kind of a nice option because there's so many cool things to see and do in Guttenberg. So being able to spend a little extra time would be pretty nice.
Yeah. Okay, so next question. I'm rolling on down the list. Actually, I answered this one on the town hall, and it's actually a really fun question. So I'm going to ask you this question.
All right.
What equipment do I need on my bike? Lights, mirror, speed tracker, anything like that? And also, I have no idea how to change a tire. Is that bad?
Ooh. Let me address the tire first.
Okay.
It is not bad if you don't know how to change a tire, but you should have all the equipment to change it so that if you get a flat tire and you're on the side of the road, chances are very likely. I mean, we're Iowa nice. We're all RAGBRAI nice. Somebody's going to stop and help you. If there happens to be Air Force riders, they always stop when they see somebody on the side of the road. But if you have all the equipment with you, and by equipment I mean the tire levers to take the tire off, maybe an extra tube or at least a patch kit, and then some way to pump up that tire again, whether it's a CO2 cartridge or an actual pump. So you could, like right now, after you listen to this podcast, you could go to Google, go to YouTube, and look up how do you change a tire. And it's maybe a 5-minute video that you could watch just so you have an idea.
Yeah.
But for the most part, have the equipment and somebody will help you.
Yeah.
And then as far as equipment you need on your bike, all you need is a bike.
Okay.
That's the honest answer. Like my bike has lights integrated into the bike, so they're always there and they can always be on. But the route is from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., so you won't need actual lights unless you're biking, to the campground at night. A mirror is nice if that's something you're used to. If you're not used to it, don't try it out when you have 10,000 of your friends biking along with you. Speed tracker is just if you're curious, if you want to know how fast you're going. I'm kind of into all that, so I track all the stuff using my Wahoo computer, but you don't have to. But yeah, I would say have at least the parts to change your tire. Beyond that, it's up to you.
Yeah. I love your answer. That was a great answer. I added a little bit to it in that I talked about what was in my bike bag as well.
Oh yeah. What's in?
And so that would include like a sunscreen. It would include a lip balm. It would include, say, like a little Ziploc bag with money in it. Because first of all, it keeps the money together. But then if it starts to rain, you could put your phone in there.
Oh yeah.
A little hand sanitizer. And I also like to carry a zip tie and a Sharpie, just because those are kind of things that come in handy a lot. But that's about it. I try to keep it slim and trim because I tend to always pick things up along the ride, like souvenirs or a snack. And I want to make sure that I have room for that in my bag.
Sure.
So,
and then of course, if you're wearing a jersey of any sort, you'll have pockets in the back. So you can put stuff back there too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We will be right back.
At First Form, they're more than just supplements. They're built for performance, driven by purpose, and proud to fuel the RAGBRAI journey.
First Form helps real people earn real long-term results on the bike and beyond.
From clean energy to high-protein snacks that actually fuel you, they're here to keep you moving, recovering, and riding strong.
Come find the First Form team out on the route. Let's crush RAGBRAI together.
Now, back to the show.
All right. How about the standard vehicle registration is now unavailable? And actually, all registration is now unavailable because registration is closed. Am I able to register a vehicle, or am I able to register myself for RAGBRAI? And I'm going to answer my own question.
Okay.
Which is, you sure can, but you need to do it in person in Orange City at the expo on July 19th. We'll have a special registration booth set up. Now that location is not determined yet, or maybe it is determined, but it's not public. So wait till the map comes out and you'll be able to find it there. But I would try to get there sooner than later. That's just my personal opinion because the line does get long. And when we sell out of vehicle passes, we sell out of vehicle passes. So we do have them available. We will have some for sale, but try to get there as early as you can so you're sure that you snag the one that you need.
So here we are in June, and AP, this is just a question I want your opinion on, or your answer. But registration had been open for what, 7 months, maybe? Months and months. But for some reason, maybe there's somebody out there that just forgot. Who knows why. But registration has to close. And what's the reason that registration closes?
It's because it's multiple reasons, but first and foremost, we ship registration packets. So we'll be mailing them to you. So our coworkers are working on packaging them right now, putting them in little envelopes and getting all your wristbands together, all your license plates together, everything that you need for RAGBRAI, and mailing them. And if we wait any longer, the items won't arrive to you before RAGBRAI. So we want to make sure that you receive the item, you can look through the packet, make sure everything is there that you need, and you're good to go for RAGBRAI. So it's a time window where we try to leave registration open as long as possible, but yet we also need several weeks to make sure that we have everything shipped. And we're recording this episode mid-June, and we try to have every single packet in the mail by July 4th.
Oh, wow.
So that's only a 2-week time window. And then after that, it's the couple weeks before RAGBRAI, and it's time for you to look through your packet and make sure you have everything set. And maybe you put your bike band on your bike and all that sort of stuff. So the time is the main reason. The other reason is because at some point we have to call it and say, towns, this is how many people to expect. This is how many porta potties you're probably going to need. You're going to need to accommodate this many meals and things like that for planning purposes.
So all the planning, right. But of course, if you did not make the registration cut, like AP said, you can register day of.
That's right.
It's going to be a little bit different pricing. You're going to have to wait in line. And then maybe you'll put it on your calendar for next year to register before it closes.
Yeah. So no worries if you're not registered yet, but definitely come and see us in Orange City and get registered.
Okay. I think we have time for one more. What's it going to be?
So how about, I'm interested in hearing if there's any ability to do laundry during the trip. I would also be interested in hearing about whether showers will be available at some points during the trip.
Wow. I think RAGBRAI would be a whole different ballgame if I never showered.
Some people do that.
I don't think I would be able to do it.
It's pretty gross. It would be very, very gross.
It's so hot and humid in Iowa.
Look, no judgment, but
no.
I would get too funky for my own
I did, this is a side note, but when I did the Colorado trip in the San Juan Mountains, we had no running water for a whole week. But we figured out how to kind of, what do you call it when you shower just with like sponges and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Sponge baths,
I guess. But also it wasn't humid and hot. Like it was cold there. So a little bit different. Anyway, I'll answer part of it and then you answer part of it. But showers are available every single day. Some of them are free. Some of them are donation. And then some of them are a cost. And I will say almost every dollar that you put towards your well-deserved shower goes towards some entity, whether it's a Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, the YMCA, or a business. To me, they're well-deserved.
Yeah. And it's another reason to carry like $10 to $15 in your bike bag.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that you can get that shower when you need it.
Yep.
Like you said, they'll have showers at sort of things like high schools, junior highs. They have shower trucks. You also could do solar showers if your charter accommodates that. I've also seen people shower in fire hydrants and like car washes, but that's a little bit more extreme. People get creative on RAGBRAI.
It's typically one town per year, I would say, that's an average, where they will get creative and turn their car wash into like 30 different showers, and everybody has their own private stall, and you may pay $10 for it, but well worth it if you really want to shower. And
some people say, oh, well, I'm just going to get hot and sweaty again. For me, the reset is worth it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of shower off the grime, the road grime. It's totally worth it.
And if you can't find a shower, ask any of the locals or find the city pool.
Yeah,
because a lot of times you go swimming, but also the city pools usually have showers as well. So.
Also a great option.
And then what about, AP, your opinion on ability to do laundry?
Yes, I would plan on doing laundry maybe once during RAGBRAI. I try to pack, you have to balance the 50-pound weight limit for your bag with, trying to be fresh and clean throughout the trip. But if it rains, you're probably only going to bring one rain jacket. So if it rains, you may want to rinse that or air it out or whatever. So you can do laundry. A lot of towns have laundromats, although you'll have to look ahead of time and bring your quarters and things like that. I'm not certain which towns have laundromats, but I do my laundry in a Ziploc bag during RAGBRAI, where I have one of those 2-gallon Ziplocs and I have a travel size bag of Tide or whatever laundry detergent. And some people even use Tide pods, but that's a whole different thing. But make sure that you keep those in plastic as well.
Yeah, you don't want any of that to pop.
Yeah. But so I just go up to a sink and I throw the detergent into the Ziploc along with my dirty clothes, and you fill it full of water and you go to town. And I'll tell you, that water comes out brown. It's quite gross, but you wash it that way. You rinse it a couple times and then hang it up in your tent somehow, either on the tent line, or if you bring a clothesline, or maybe you'll find something to hang it. But my other piece of advice that goes with that is give yourself a day or two for it to dry, because it's going to be humid.
Yeah.
And so stuff doesn't always dry as fast as normal.
Right.
So nobody likes wet bike shorts. So make sure that you
Right.
dry them out.
And some people will actually wear their kit or their spandex or whatever they have into the shower.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you kind of are washing it as you're washing yourself.
Yeah, that works too.
And then, just rinse it out and then hang it on whatever you said, AP.
Yeah.
Or when you go to wherever you go to brush your teeth, you
Yeah.
can use that sink or whatever to
Yeah.
rinse out your stuff. So.
It's, you kind of get creative on RAGBRAI with showering and doing laundry. It's kind of part of the fun of it. It's all an adventure. If you looked up camp showers or camping laundry, you might get better ideas, but those are just some that I've come up with over time or seen other people do.
Those are great ideas.
So, yeah. So thank you so much for listening to our June Town Hall questions. This has hopefully been helpful to you if you're a RAGBRAI newbie or if you're a veteran trying to just sort of remember how it all goes once again.
Yeah.
But we'll be back again with answering more questions. So if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com.
And then will there be a July town hall?
There will be a July town hall. We will have our final RAGBRAI 2025 town hall on July 10th at 6:30 Central Time. So we'll be talking about just last minute plans, to stuff about the GPS routes, stuff about the maps, all the last minute preparations that you might want to do for RAGBRAI. So please join us for that. We'll have the RSVP link up very soon if it's not already posted by the time we air this episode. You can also go back and look at every single one of our town halls that we've ever posted from this year on the RAGBRAI YouTube channel. And you can find that at RAGBRAI_Iowa on YouTube.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
Just go bike!
theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.